Hey guys, good evening. Um, Welcome to another Tech Tip Thursday. Hopefully, some people jump on and let me know if the microphone's working, um, and then we can go ahead and get started here. Um, tonight, tonight we're going to glue some tires. This is actually a suggestion. Hey guys, if you could type in there and let me know that you can hear me okay, anyone, that would be awesome. Um, but we're going to glue some 8-scale tires. It was kind of a discussion we were having at the latest TNR race, and I got a thumbs up, so I'm assuming that means you guys can hear me. I don't see anybody typing, so hopefully everybody can hear me. Let's see here. Oh, okay, Larry, thanks, bud. Cool. So we're going to go ahead and glue some tires. This has been covered a bunch. I do it a little bit different than some others. Some of this is actually some information I gleaned from Junior recently, so thank you, Gil Losi Jr. But yeah, hopefully this will help some of you guys out. So, first things first, I've been working on RC cars all day long today, but we'll get to that part. So that means my hands, they're kind of dirty, right? So first things first, some things I have. I have just a regular old leather punch, on a decent sized hole. I have a microfiber towel that's got only some corners of it that have been used. The rest of it's clean, not dirty, not no oil, nothing like that. Bottle of Simple Green, non-diluted. I have a tire gluing rig, although you don't need that, or jig, I guess it's called. Got my wheels, some tires. We're going to glue up some of these AKA Diamantes to use these soft longwear or super soft longwares. And then the one other thing I have, which is kind of something different, is I've got some acetone here. And this was about half full. And I mixed in some of this. It's Plastruct plastic weld. So it's about half of one of these quarts to one bottle. Dump this whole bottle in there. This is the part that Junior talked to me about. And this is what I use. So technically, this is the cleaner. Okay, acetone mixed with the Plastruct. This is what's called a primer that gets the tire ready. So this process works best if you clean it, and then within about an hour or two, you can do it faster. Obviously, I'm going to show you. We're going to do it real quick, but as long as it's dry, then you're good to go. But you don't really want to wait more than an hour or two, and then you simple green it, wait for that to dry, and then you go from there. So first things first, this is how a tire would come out of a package. Tire packaged up with the foam in it. The first thing I always do is I pull the foam out, make sure the foam all looks okay, and then I go ahead and punch holes in it. So I see people punching holes in the sidewalls, I see people punching holes in the center, all over the place. I happen to go what is going to be my inside. You can see punches a hole in there, and then I go 180 degrees from that and I do another hole. I know it's off to the side, you can put it in the center, but the dot I always put on the inside, so this would be the inside of my tire. That way the outside's nice and consistent and the center doesn't get extra wear because there's a hole there. Not that it should really matter. But yeah, the dots I've always put to the inside of the tire, so that's just one thing about me. Some people put the dots to the outside, doesn't really matter. It's kind of your call. But this process seems to work with all the different rubber compounds out there, so that's why I kind of wanted to share it. And it doesn't require a bunch of extra sanding and all that fun stuff. So then the next thing I was going to do is, normally at this point, I'd get the foam back in there, stick it back in there, run it around, make sure the beads around there, and then clean it and put it on the wheel. In this case, I'm actually going to show you a couple other things. I want to talk about foam a little bit. So like this is AKA's foam. It's a really good foam. This foam seems to be much happier above about 65 degrees. Below that, it seems to get a little bit harder for some reason. So I'm actually going to try these because it's going to be colder this weekend. So I'm going to try some different foams. But just some things some people do is they'll take and they'll put holes in the foam when it's new so it's softer, or they'll flip it inside out and V-cut it. Okay, and what I mean by V-cutting, these are the foams I'm going to use. You turn it inside out. I'm taking a pair, I've used curved scissors, straight scissors. None of that makes a big, huge deal to me, in all fairness. But you take it, right, and you pinch it, push the scissors into the foam, and V-cut it. So the V is all the way down to the flats here, okay? And then once you go, imagine that, looks like a V. And then you just go and you keep doing that all the way around until you have that done. I've already done this one, so that one I'm just going to set to the side and I'll finish later. And we'll go from there. That way we can do this a little faster. So this one's V-cut already. Okay. The other thing with softer tires, like usually M4 compound or super soft long wear, those types of compounds, I'm going to put the foam on the wheel. I'm actually going to glue the foam to the wheel. And the reason I kind of chose these tires and all this is so I can show you guys all the different little bits and pieces. There's a couple different things they offer these days. I just glue the foam to the wheel, but there's companies, J Concepts, Ultimate, that actually offer bands that go in these grooves. And those actually do something similar. Basically, they're allowing the foam to not expand so that when the tire expands a whole bunch, the foam would make it expand even more. And then with everything being off the wheel, the car gets really wiggly. So, you know, that kind of is what it is. So basically I got this on the wheel. It's all centered because I'm going to go ahead and glue this. I'm actually going to glue one full side. Normally you glue one side and then you glue the other. But I'm going to glue one side to show you guys what I do. And the reason I'm going to do a whole side is because I don't want to forget anything. But basically you come in here, I start with where the logo is so I know where I'm starting. Pull it up a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see okay. And just a little dab of glue down in the side. Pull it up, little dab, little dab. Doesn't take a lot. You don't want to go to town too bad. You want it, obviously, you want it glued there. You want it to stay, right? And the reason you hit every single one of these is so that when you run, it does actually stay. It doesn't want to expand, get heavy in one spot. But you're basically gluing this so it doesn't expand your softer tires more. This is used on higher grip too. And then I kind of push in on it a little bit. And then I would flip it over and glue the other side. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to set this to the side. I have this one that I already glued up. I work at Horizon, so I have access to Proline wheels, TLR wheels, AKA wheels. I've run Proline for a really long time. And so I'm used to the Proline wheels. Obviously, we do TLR wheels. Just a couple food for thought moments. The TLR wheels, if you're running on high bite, they kind of remind me of, on 10 scale, we offered like a Stiffazel wheel. So it's the TLR wheel is a really, really stiff wheel. So if you're running on loamy surfaces, things like that, I typically, would recommend running like an all Proline or all AKA wheels. Strangely enough, what I do is I mix and match a little bit. Back. There it goes. Got a phone call. The desk cam is my phone. So I actually use TLR wheels up front, and then I use Proline wheels in the rear because I get more grip that way, and it acts like a stiff as L's up front and whatnot. But anyway, so now's the part. Okay, so now I got the foam either inserted into the tire, or I have my foam already glued to my wheel. So now's the part where I'm going to start handling the rubber to glue it. Okay, so now the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wash my hands. Okay, and usually at the track, we don't have very good access to like go wash our hands somewhere. So what I've learned to do is I just get a paper towel ready, and I'm going to get my trash can out, and basically I'm just going to literally soak my hand dripping with Simple Green. Make sure you get the tips of your fingers. Basically, you want to get all the oil off your hands, okay? Make sure they're really dry, right? So now you can see, or maybe you not, I don't know, whatever. Now my hands clean, they're dry, they're free of oil. Now I can handle the rubber. So for my first step, I'm going to use what I said, which was this mixture. Just pop that open. And for this, I'm actually going to use the microfiber towel, and these are from Kirkland, obviously, because I found I can just clean more of them faster that way. So just get some of this mixture on there. And then I like to clean off the side without the dots first, because that's the outside. I don't know why, I'm just kind of built that way. And I'm just going along and making sure I go all the way around. I'm going to do one side, and then I'm going to do the other. Okay, and then that one I'm going to set to the side. Okay, I usually do 2 tires. If it's still damp, I'm doing okay. Hopefully I keep getting this in here, but just going around. It's a little easier when you're not gluing the wheel or the tire, the foam to the wheel. But obviously you got more support in there. But you can see, you know, that's a lot of gross stuff there. So now I'm gonna get another little section. And it doesn't take a lot, guys. It's a little dab there. I'm just gonna do all these right now, just because that way, honestly, my hands are already clean, and that way I don't forget. And then once we get the first side of a tire glued, I will go ahead and answer if there's any questions here. But the Plastruck stuff, I just buy at Hobbytown. I mean, that's what's local to us. You can order it online. But it's the chemical that's in it that you really want. But yeah, so there's 4 tires. You can see my towel. That's a lot of gook. That's what this other dirty corner is. This is my tire cleaning towel. So just going to put that to the side there. And now I'm going to get some paper towel. You can use paper towel for this. You can use blue towels for this. The one thing about blue towels I'd recommend is make sure you buy the ones that are oil free, because there's some that actually have oil in them, and that's obviously no good. But now you can see, I mean, the bead is just, see how shiny and clean that is? I mean, and if you touch it, it like grabs your finger. Like, that's nice, good, open rubber. So now I can apply, I'm going to flip this stack over, because this bottom one will be the driest. And now I'm going to do the primer, which is the Simple Green. Just get a couple squeaks there. And again, I'm going to do the outside first. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but now that I'm putting the primer on there, look at that. I mean, that bead, that's clean, guys. Clean, ready to go. And now you can see there's not a lot there's not a lot of dirt on this, on the rag for the Simple Green. Normally that would be really dirty, right? Because some people just use Simple Green. So now I can basically use one spot, and I'm going to get all 4 tires clean with this one spot because it's not dirty. And you can see a lot of moisture there. And you can see that when I started, they were dry. You know, there's no moisture there to start with. So now you can see, look how nice and shiny that bead is, guys. Okay, now that'll dry off, hopefully sooner than later, because I want to actually glue one of these for you guys. So I'm going to go back to the bottom one, and my cats. Everybody knows about my cats. I got cat hair in all my videos, I think. So let's get that. Just blowing on a little bit, making sure it's nice and dry, but you can see that surface. I mean, super clean. It's now prepped to glue. So when I glue foam to the wheel, the way I put foam on this, some people will just kind of start getting it going. I actually turn the tire inside out at this point. And there's a little bit of moisture. This is inside the tire, so I'm just gonna get that extra moisture off of there. Yep. Okay, so now this dot, obviously that's the inside, because that's where I put the dot. So I'm just gonna kind of line these two up, bend it around there, and I'm gonna hold in there. I got my fingers spread out, and now I'm just gonna take and go right around. Okay, and then we're gonna center some of this up. Okay, that's nice and centered now. So now we can get the bead in here. And this is why we wash our hands, because I'm actually touching the bead now, but because my hands are clean, you know, getting the bead in here. Okay, now I'm going to go around and make sure it's pushed in. So the edge of it's pushed in against the lip here. Okay. So the bead's so kind of grabby right now that I can push these in and they're now going to stay there. You're also making sure it's not lifted up over that lip in any way. Okay, that's good, right? So you can take a look at it. If you're not sure, you can always kind of come in here and look from the side and just grab them, you know, kind of push in. Don't lift up, just push in. Okay, so now that tire is ready to be glued. Okay, everything's centered, both beads are in there. I'm going to use this. I don't remember where I bought it. I use this because my hands, honestly, as I've gotten older, they hurt more. But push it down. Good bottle of Proline glue with a tip. Okay, sorry, I used it earlier, so I was just making sure air came out of it. And now you're just going to put a nice bead. So now the rest of this actually isn't as hard because of how we've prepared the surface. So let me get this centered. And I'm just going to make sure we put a nice constant bead of glue in there. There we go. That's where I had stopped. So this particular one I'm going to actually push down so that it actually pulls the lip back a little bit more. You can see the bead of glue nice and even around there. And we're going to take and put a band on. Okay, make sure it's nice along the edges. And then you can see how there's glue all the way around the bead? Maybe you can't. All right, I'm not sure how to make that happen in a camera. Oh, there you go. You can sort of see it. But then I just take a folded up, again, Costco paper towels. You want either really durable paper towels or blue towels. And then just go really quick around the edge, hit it again, and that tire will never come off this bead. We've tested this whole process at our Proline facility, and it takes about 150 pounds of force to pull this off of this bead now. So then I would do that one, I'd set that one off to the side, I'd glue the other three. By the time I finish the other three, I come back and I just wipe it off, make sure there's nothing. I'll pull this off, I'll do the other side. So this front side, obviously you saw how I wiped. When you do the back side, okay, glue can go run down here. So I always wipe in here and then the edge, okay? So anyway, that tire is glued. I can do the rest of them now, but I don't need to bore you guys with all the rest of that. So let me see if there's any other questions here. Okay, what do we got? James, what's the difference between holes in tire or holes in the rim? All right, so holes. You won't ever see me put holes in the sidewall. Doesn't matter how many. I've seen people with as many as 4 holes in the sidewall, the inner sidewall, and I still see air get trapped in and ballooned because this edge and this edge grab the nice clean edge of the foam, and then the air doesn't come out. But with this kind of foam, which is called closed cell foam, it literally can get in and seal up all the little edges. Okay, you can seal up all the edges in there to where air gets trapped and you come back from a run and your tire is ballooned out with air and you can feel air in it. So the reason we put it in the tire on 8 scale with us using these closed cell foams is because we need to get the air out of the tire. If you're using like an open cell foam, when we used to race, we used to always put the hole in the wheel. That's why all of our TLR wheels have holes in them, because these originally came from when we ran open cell foam. So I always put it in the outside tread, and I always make sure that I'm getting the air out of the tire, because otherwise it just gets inconsistent. Can you clean the tires in the washing machine? I wouldn't recommend that. I've never tried it. But yeah, I just put together the 8XE 2.0, first debug I've ever had, but I think my track is like a hard packed clay-like. What you recommend for tires? Well, I mean, if it's actually clay, then there's a number of companies, AKA, Proline, all make a clay compound. J-Concepts makes a clay compound. You're probably going to want something like that, and they tend to come in like a really densely packed pin tire or a bar type tire. But you're probably going to want one of those, and you're going to want to find the stiffest foam you can. So like the AKA foam is really, really good foam for that. And what size holes am I putting in the tire? Honestly, I don't know. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm putting the third size. I usually use the third or the fourth size hole. I don't know. I'd say it's at least a 3 millimeter hole. Is it true that if the tire foam gets wet, it's trash? Well, when this kind of tire foam gets wet, it shouldn't really absorb a lot of water because it's supposed to be closed cell. As long as you let it dry, it usually is going to feel very similar once it's dry. The problem is when you get any foam wet, you get a spot that's heavier, and then the tire's really out of balance, and then it just makes your car super inconsistent. So I know today's video was a little longer, guys, but there's a lot more steps involved in gluing tires. So I just wanted to make sure I kind of went through all the different steps, the reasons, the different things we do, stuff like that. So hopefully this was helpful. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully that helps everyone with a little easier process of gluing. Have a good night.